both to be understood by the Nefesh Alakis and by the Nefesh Abamis, how the Yerida is Soidach Aliyah, and then he goes the Nefesh Alakis explains it to the Nefesh Abamis, that all the purpose of the Yerida is only for the sake of the Aliyah that happens through it. It's not just a choik, like we said. So now the Rebbe is going to continue and say, how about if he doesn't understand? So he says in Ois Ches, bottom of the 6th page Tzadik Tes, even if a person did not reach this level, that he could appreciate, and his Nefesh HaBahamis will be in a state of Menuchas HaNefesh, and he'll be able to learn in a way of Menucha and so on, because he realizes that it's an Aliyah in truth. Still didn't yet become absorbed in his mind this explanation. The descent in this low world, that there's nothing beneath it. Especially the descent of the times of the heels of Mashiach, which is in this low world itself. That's an even greater descent than the descent in general into the world. Like it's explained in Gemara, how the times before Mashiach is a very low time. Like we see this also with our senses, with eyes of flesh. We can see this openly, how things are in a very negative state, in a very low state, right before Mashiach comes. He doesn't yet realize this. This still didn't yet become absorbed in his mind, that this descent is only for the sake of an ascent. And because of that, it's not a true descent, just like the traveling after the encampment, since the encampment was directed by Hashem, so it's considered, even though he's going to travel later, it's still considered something that is set and established. Top of the next page Kuf. Af became still in all. Since he wants and he looks forward to be on the level of the ascent, through this itself, he finds himself in such a level by wanting and wishing to be in a level of an aliyah, so that itself causes him to be found in such a type of level. The statement of Baal Shem Tov, so the place where the person's thought and the person's will is, that is where he is to be found. Since there are external things that are bothering and concealing, for this there's the given advice. A person does not stand up to daven only out of kovid rosh. Kovid rosh means the type of seriousness, the devotion, the bittul, and so on. Tefillah, tefillah is the idea of bonding. This is what Chazal meant. Halavai, a person should daven the entire day. It doesn't mean literally saying the words of davening the entire day, because that's, first of all, physically impossible. So also, he's got to do other avodas. He's got to learn Torah. He's got to do other mitzvahs. So rather, when it means that halavai shispal adam kol yom kula, it means the hiskashrus of davening should be experienced all day. Hainu shekola yom kula yeh biskashrus kazu kibay beisat tefillah means the entire day should be in this type of bond, like he is during davening. Dalefnim miyata oimed, know before who you are standing in davening. And the preparation for this hiskashrus. How do you get before davening? How do you get to the state that's going to bring you to this bond? Has to be kovid roish, hu inyan hakovid roish. K'yadei hakovid roish misbatlin hadvar hamevalvelim. This type of kovid roish, this type of seriousness, sincerity, this type of thinking about what his level is, that is causes that all the negative things cease. Especially according to the teachings in Mizitcher Magid, Shakavona bekovid roish. He koived shall reisha the choleration. That what does he have to have in mind? What does it mean that he's ein oimdom l'spala mit koived roish? He is thinking about the heaviness, the weightiness, the weight upon the head of whole heads. In other words, Hashem, how Hashem was yored, the Shekhinah is yored in Golus, and so on. And how does he come to feel that koived roish of the Shekhinah above? This feeling comes through meditating and feeling and appreciating that the neshama is a part of Hashem above. So therefore, he cares because he's a part of Hashem. He cares what's going on with Hashem, the Yerida of the Shekhinah. So now the Rebbe is going to point out an interesting thing here in the brackets. In the Mizritcher Maggid's above mentioned Torah that the Kovid Roish is felt because the Neshama is a Chelik al Mal. All it says is Mal, it doesn't add the word Mamish like in Tanya. With this we see the novelty and the uniqueness of the Alter Rebbe in Tanya, that's the written Torah of Chassidus Chabad, that he doesn't just say in Perek Beis that the Neshama is a Chelik al Kam Mal, but he adds the words Mamish. So going back to what the Mizritcher Maggid was saying, that through the Kovid Rosh before davening, so hinai deizem is batlan kola and yonam hamalim mastirim, so all things that conceal and cover over cease and stop. Take from miyad mizgal machshavti, immediately becomes revealed. His thought that we said before, Sheshamu nimtza kanal, that what is the person thought, that he is found there, like the Baal Shem Tov says, where the person thought is, that's where he's found. Shemetzad machshavti ub'chinas aliyah, from the perspective of his thought, he's in the way of rising up. From the level of thought, the main part of this thought is in the level of the nefesh that's beyond reason and understanding, beyond the level of intellect. That is where this machshava is. Why is this machshava in a level beyond intellect? So the Rebbe explains, Ki machshava zu hi etzem inyan ha'adam. This level of thought is the very essence of what the person's about. Like it's brought down to Kunei Zoyar, ma ihu adam, that the level of ma, that's the level of adam. The numerical equivalent of ma is adam. Bam is b'gematria behema. The gematria of ma is adam, and machshava is choshav ma. The word machshava could be divided into two words, the mem and hey, from the beginning and the end, that's ma. In the middle, it's choshav. The ihu adam machshava, that's the level of adam, is machshava. So we find that thought, the level of machshava, is the adam himself. So this machshava, that his machshava is in the state of ascent, is not something external to the person. It is something that is the very essence of the person. So from this level of the soul, the very essence of the person, this thought that his purpose is for the sake of an ascent, it comes down afterwards also into his intellect. Also in his intellect is absorbed the explanation, since according to Hashem's command, that's where they are encamped. So then it's like a set, established thing, meaning that it's beneficial and good and positive, not a negative. We just happen to be here because of some untoward reasons. Until it comes on also in action, that he's actually experiencing and feeling and understanding the level of the aliyah. So Oistes, he goes back to the original concept that he spoke about at the beginning of the Maimer, that the land of Eretz Yisrael was divided in three modes. Through a goyrel, the lottery, al pi Hashem, according to Ruach HaKodesh, and also there is the level of the Rav and Lamat, that's a logical thing, al pi Seichel, the more population, that's a bigger portion. So too, in the general idea of the avodah, there are three types of avodah in the service of Hashem. Avoid concerning turning away from bad and doing good in actuality. That's the main thing. Action. Action, that's the avoid. That's the avoid that's based on seichel. That's the idea of to one that's a greater population. You give a bigger portion, the smaller population give a smaller portion, meaning spiritually as well. The avoid of every person, it's according to the specific allotment in the world that he was given. He was given certain things that he's in contact with. He was given a certain job. He was given certain money. He was given a certain place to live. He was given a certain piece of food on his plate. That is that portion that was a portion to him in the world. That is what he has to act upon in the two lines of, if it's in a way of turning away from bad or in the doing good with it. That is larav tarbel amatamit avodah shapitam v'das. Lamaylu yoser he avodah shapi roch hakodesh. Higher than that, that's the avodah. It's according to roch hakodesh. Ubezen nichlu shnei inyanim, and this included two components, two aspects. Okay, do as it's known, sheruach hakodesh bechinas malchus she is sfiras asiris. Like it's brought down in Kabbalah, like it's known that roch hakodesh is the level of malchus. That's the 10th sfira. Sometimes it's explained just the opposite, but the Remaskal V'Shaftim Kvek Yusadim Rashavnish V'Seiden and a Maimer entitled V'Shaftim from the year Tavri Samach Tes from the Rebbe Rashab. Sheruach HaKodesh Yebechinas Chachma. Ruach HaKodesh is the level of Chachma. Shemisham Shoyavim Ruach HaKodesh the Bechinas Malchus. From there we draw. Like it says Shaft Maim Besosen, it says that the Yidden would draw Ruach HaKodesh by Simchas Beis HaSha'eva. So in a similar vein, using the same type of terminology, they would draw from Chochmah the Ruach HaKodesh of the level of Malchus. Because Chochmah and Malchus have a connection between them. Here he's going to bring another example of this connection between Chochmah and Malchus, the Dugmas Haidu of Pirush Reishis, similar to what's known in the explanation of the word Reishis, Bir Reishis, Beis Reishis. The fact that says Bir Reishis is two Reishis. So we know what Rashi says on it, but here we're going to talk about that there's two heads when it comes to Seder Shtalshlus. If you're looking from above to below, below to above. Shtei Abchinas, the Reishis, Chochmah, Malchus, Nasan Teva Achas, the two levels of Reishis. Reishis, the way Chochmah is the beginning of all the spheres, Reishis Chochmah, and Malchus is also called Reishis, either because the way you count the spheres from bottom up, it's Reishis, or because it's the Reishis of the worlds of Biyah. So both of them, both types of Reishis, Nas and Teves Achas, become one word. They are one word of Reishis, includes both of them, especially Bir Reishis, Beis Reishis, it includes both. The same thing, Ruach HaKodesh, includes both the level of Malchus and the level of Chochmah, from which the Ruach HaKodesh is drawn into Malchus. Meaning, if you have Ruach HaKodesh, which is Chochmah, you have Ruach HaKodesh, which is Malchus, that means you're really encapsulating everything in between as well. In this Ruach HaKodesh included all the 10 spheres. Behind this means that in the Ruach HaKodesh koil gam abchinas v'adarga shebein time the Chochmah Malchus shebenefesh, that Ruach HaKodesh includes all the levels that are in between Chochmah Malchus shebenefesh. It's not just Ruach HaKodesh is just Chochmah and just Malchus, but everything in between. So we went from the level of Sur Marav Aseitov Maisu Apoil to the level of the spheres and also the Koiches HaNefesh. Well, the Maili Yoser, he avoided the Gordel, and higher than that is the avoid of the lottery. Shugam Bezeshnei in Yonim, in a lottery there's also two components. Which is Admar Tzemach Tzedek Shnei Pirushim Bin Nagordel. Tzemach Tzedek explains two explanations in the level of what the girdle represents. Aleph, one is Emunah, just simple faith, not because I understand, not because of my Chachma, not because of my love, just a basic belief in Hashem, like a simple child has. Beis, another level in girdle is Bittul Shalamaylam Aseichel, a bit less beyond intellect. Like a girdle, a lottery, is not something logical, it's not something based on intellect, it's a decision that comes beyond intellect. These two explanations in Goyrol are also two extremes, similar to the two explanations in Ruach HaKodesh. The idea of belief is mainly in the sphere of Malchus that is below and the end of all levels. The bittul is beyond reason. It comes from the essence of the soul that's beyond intellect. Through this level of emunah, or through this level of bittul, it does not remain any type of doubt in what path he is being led. And it's a clear thing that they will lead him to all good. In other words, playing off what Rabbi Yechim Mezake said, that I don't know until the ultimate perfection of good. Until he merits at your world you'll see in your lifetime. Not just that when he's passing away, he's assured that he's going to be led to the best, but it's even earlier that even now, before he passes away, he sees his world in his lifetime, he sees the world to come. It's revealed by him the level of the Goyrel that divide the land, and it's below the 10 handbreadths in Neshama in the Guf that he has this great revelation. Just like in the division of Eretz Yisrael, in the first time the Yidden entered Eretz Yisrael, there were these three aspects: begorel, yachalek, haaretz, that it's by a goyrel that the land was being divided, al pi Hashem Ruach HaKodesh, also by Hashem's command, which means by Ruach HaKodesh. And the third thing was l'rav tar begomer lamat tamid gomer, to the many you shall increase, and to the few you shall decrease. And through these three means of division, that's how they divided the land, in a way that each one had his vineyard and he had his fig tree. Yidden were in a calm and restful fashion, every person under his vine and under his fig tree. What the saying is so too will be now through our actions and service. Void b'yeser seis v'yeser ozim k'ma even more powerfully than it was then. Since it was a great descent during the times right before Mashiach's coming, especially since there was the imprisonment and the exile of the Neshamas Klolis, the leaders of Yidden. Bechlal there was. And until and including the imprisonment and the exile of the leader of the Yidden of our generation, that occurred prior to the 12th and 13th of Tammuz, through his redemption, through his redemption, that not only himself did Hashem redeem, but also all those that love Torah, that observe mitzvahs, and even those that are only called by the name Yisrael. This redemption of Frierdiker Rebbe is a close preparation, v'tziner, and a channel, v'kli, and a vessel, to draw down the general gul of the Yidden, wherever they are located. Should be again the conquest of Eretz Yisrael. In a way that I will place peace in the land, and I will lead you upright. Through the three types of avodah, of a lottery, of Ruach HaKodesh, and to the many it will increase. The primary thing and the foundation of everything, through resolving with strength and self-sacrifice, like the statement of the Frierdiker Rebbe, who was the one Simcha is in Beis Tammuz, that the idea of self-sacrifice and the decision that this is the way it's going to be and no different. When a Jew says something, that he decides this way, it doesn't make a difference what his state and situation was spiritually in a moment prior to this. Like the Rambam rules, that even if a person had to be coerced to give a get, And immediately, as soon as he says, I want to, that comes revealed his true will. That every single Yid wants to fulfill the will of his creator. Told him to do everything that's dependent on him, that should be fulfilled the will of the creator. With this is also included, that should be fulfilled the will of the creator. That is the essence of goodness. The nature of good is to do good. To extract and take out every single yid from Golus, wherever he is, to look in such a way that you will be collected one by one, the Bnei Yisrael. This shows the great specialness and the great love and the great divine providence, specific providence on every single Yid. He will lead us upright to our land soon, mamish, in the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu.